You've probably heard the word manifestation, right? And maybe you think of things like vision boards or, just wishing really hard for something. But what if I told you that bringing something you want into your life has way less to do with magic or woo-woo and everything to do with the actual physical wiring inside your brain? We're going to get into the real science behind it. And hey, don't just take my word for it. That's a direct quote from Dr. Jim Doty. This guy is a neurosurgeon and a neuroscientist at Stanford. His entire point is that manifestation isn't some mystical force. It's a scientific process, a skill we can all get better at just by understanding how our own brains operate. So that's the big question, isn't it? If we all have this incredible supercomputer between our ears, why do so many of us feel like we're just spinning our meals, stuck? Unable to really change our situation or get the things we really want? Well, according to the science, it all starts with the stories we're constantly telling ourselves. Dr. Doughty has this concept he calls the prison of self-talk. And the idea is that all those little negative thoughts we have on repeat, the ones, I'm not smart enough, or that could never work out for me, they aren't just thoughts. They're actively building the walls of the reality that we live in every single day. Think about it like this. He says every single time you have one of those negative thoughts, it's like you're laying down a brick. And over months, years, decades, without even noticing, we build these walls higher and higher until we're trapped inside a prison that we built ourselves. But here's the good news. If we built it, we also hold the key to tear it down. Okay, so to figure out how to get out of that prison, we first have to understand the brain's two basic operating modes. Dr. Doughty really simplifies this. He says it boils down to a choice we're making all the time, usually without even thinking about it. Are we living in fear, or are we living with an open heart? Let's break this down. So on one side, you've got fear mode. That's your sympathetic nervous system. It's your classic fight or flight response. It's all about anxiety, stress, and that constant need to chase approval from others just to feel like you're okay. But then on the other side, there's heart mode. This is your parasympathetic nervous system. And believe it or not, this is our natural default state. It's calm, it's about connection, openness, and helping others. Now, here's the kicker. Modern life, with all its pressures, work deadlines, social media, money worries, it keeps most of us stuck, chronically, in that fear mode. And when you're in that state, your brain and your body are literally shutting down access to your own potential. You can't grow when you're just trying to survive. But it is not all doom and gloom. In fact, this is where it gets really, really hopeful. We are not stuck with the brain wiring we currently have. We can consciously, intentionally change our own brain's programming, and the science on this is absolutely solid. The whole magic trick behind this change is a concept called neuroplasticity, and it's just a beautiful idea. It means your brain isn't some fixed thing set in stone. It's more like clay. It can be remolded. The thoughts you think, the things you do, they literally forge new pathways, new connections in your brain. You can actually lay down a whole new track. So where does that old negative story actually live? Well, it's in a part of your brain called the default mode network. This is basically what's running when your mind is just wandering, when you're driving or in the shower. It's your inner narrator, your inner critic. It's the DJ playing that same old tired track of "I'm not good enough" on a loop. Which, of course, leads us to the most important question of all. If we can change our brain, how do we actually do it? How do we get in there, into that default mode network, and consciously write a new, better story? And then how do we make that the new default? Well, this is where Dr. Doughty gives us this amazing, incredibly simple but science-backed technique to do exactly that. It's a 4-step process, and it's designed to take a new idea, a new intention, and embed it so deep in your subconscious that your brain has no choice but to start working on it. The process is as simple as it is powerful. First, you get a pen and paper, and you physically write your intention down. Step 2, you read it silently to yourself. Step 3, you read it out loud so you're engaging your hearing. And finally, you close your eyes and you vividly, with as much detail as possible, imagine it as if it's already happened. See, by hitting all these different senses, you're creating really, really strong new neural pathways. So what you're doing by repeating this process is you're signaling to your brain that this new thought, this new goal is important. The scientific term is you're making it salient. You are basically putting a giant flashing neon sign on this idea that screams, "Hey brain, pay attention to this." And once your brain marks something as important, this amazing chain reaction kicks off. First, the salience network flags it as a priority.
That immediately activates your attention network, which starts scanning your world for anything and everything related to that goal. It's like a heat-seeking missile. And then your executive control network kicks in, which is the part of you that says, okay, there's an opportunity, let's go, and actually drives you to take action. It's not magic, it's just a sequence in your brain.
Okay, but there's one last piece to this puzzle. And honestly, it might be the most important part of the entire thing. The technique is powerful, for sure, but the mindset you're in when you do it, that's everything. And this brings us right back to that choice between fear mode and heart mode. Dr. Doty's own life is the perfect story here. When he was 12, growing up poor, he learned this technique and manifested a list of things: a Porsche, a mansion, to be a millionaire. And guess what? He got every single thing on that list. And he says he was absolutely miserable. Why? Because it all came from fear mode, from a deep need to prove himself. It wasn't until he lost nearly $80 million and then chose to give away another $30 million that he found real happiness by shifting into service, into compassion, into heart mode. And that right there, that is the ultimate insight. This whole thing isn't really about just getting more stuff. When our goals come from a place of insecurity, of needing to prove we're worthy, we're operating from fear mode. And even if we get what we want, it just feels empty. The most powerful, effective state for making things happen is heart mode. When your intention is about, how can I help? How can I connect? How can I be of service? That's when you're aligning with your brain's most natural, ancient wiring. And that is when you unlock your true potential. And the funny thing is, when you do that, the material things you thought you wanted often just show up anyway. This quote from Dr. Doty just says it all, doesn't it? The change doesn't happen out there in the world. It happens in here. Your inner state, whether it's fear and scarcity or compassion and service, that is what literally creates the world you see around you. So if the secret really is about shifting into heart mode, where do you even start? It doesn't have to be some huge, grand plan. It can be small. And that really leaves us with one final thought. Instead of asking, what can I get? What if we asked, how can I help just one person today? That simple shift, that might just be the most powerful way to manifest anything.